Here I am. I am live, coming at you live, coming at you live. Yeah, it's Dave Doyle here, realtor with Jack Conway Realty, and a hot button is the new law that's been passed back in August for ADUs, accessory dwelling units. It's been a hot topic for a bit now. Something that's taken a long time to get to where we're at, which is, good for those that want to take advantage of it. So, like I said, my name is Dave Doyle. I've been a realtor with Jack Conway for about 5 years total. Took some time off to run a food truck with my wife, but I'm back in real estate, and this was a hot topic back then when I was doing it in 2017, 2018. Because of the HGTV shows like Tiny Living, Tiny House type stuff. It was all the rave, and people were like, I want a tiny house too because I can't afford a big house, or that kind of thing. And then, um, so typically before this law was just passed, accessory dwelling units had lots of restrictions on them here in Massachusetts. It was something that was attached to the primary residence, considered, what we call the in-law apartment. It had to be family living there, immediate family, grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, and the primary residence, one of the two had to be owner occupied. So the owner either had to live in the in-law apartment, and the kids own because that's how some families were doing it. The parents were aging, so they moved into the in-law apartment because it was just the husband and wife, and then the kid with the wife and the kids moved into the big house. And that's a common situation that's going on today still. So an accessory dwelling unit, is, as we typically know them here, like I said, is the in-law that's attached, either over the garage or that kind of thing. But in other parts of the country, there are accessory dwelling units that are built in the backyards. Some of them are, there's different floor plans and all sorts of stuff like that. So this new law kind of defines the parameters of ADUs here in Massachusetts, and what the individual municipalities can and cannot do with regards to those in-law apartments and such. Absolutely, please leave any comments. You can certainly comment any questions as we go through this. I'm going to try and, provide as much information as I can based on the research that I've done concerning the ADUs. So like I said, ADUs, accessory dwelling units, there's various types. There's attached, there's detached, there's garage conversions. And in the past, in Massachusetts, the zoning laws, you couldn't have them in single family zoning areas because it's not single family. It's considered like a two family. But it didn't have the benefits of being able to just rent it to anybody or that kind of thing. So they were kind of really weird restrictions on ADUs. And there were lots of challenges that were faced by families who were trying to figure out what to do with their aging parents who really couldn't live alone in their own house. So they were really hoping to put some kind of accessory dwelling unit on their property, whether it was a trailer or a fixed house. So let's take a quick look at how the state of Massachusetts defines accessory dwellings. I'm going to take a minute here to share my screen. So the entire screen, boom, share. All right, can you all see that? All right, so what is an ADU? This is from mass.gov. Basically, it's an accessory dwelling unit is a secondary residential living space located on the same lot of a single family home. ADUs can display a significant role in our housing crisis. The policy recently signed by the governor allows property owners to build an ADU without having to get special or discretionary approval from the local zoning board. Da, da, da. Right here. So, what is the law? ADUs have to be no more than 900 square feet to be built right in single family zoning districts. Let's see if I can look at this page here. Okay, this kind of sums it up a little better. The Affordable Homes Act signed August 6, 2024. So Section 7 changes the definition of accessory dwelling unit. It's a self-contained housing unit inclusive of sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities on the same lot as principal dwelling, subject to otherwise applicable dimensional and parking requirements. So this unit has to have its own kitchen, its own bathroom, as well as a bedroom, at least one. It also must maintain a separate entrance, either directly from the outside or through an entry hall corridor shared with the principal dwelling, like a breezeway, which would be sufficient to meet the requirements of the state building codes for safe egress. It cannot be larger in gross floor area than half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling, or 900 feet, whichever is smaller. So get that. That's key right there, whichever is smaller. So it can only be up to 900 square feet. But if your house is only 1,600 square feet, your ADU can only be 800 square feet. And it's also subject to additional restrictions as may be imposed by a municipality, including, but not limited to, additional size restrictions and restrictions or prohibitions on short-term rental as defined in Section 1, Chapter 64G, provided that no municipality shall unreasonably restrict the creation or rental of an accessory dwelling unit that is not a short-term rental. So basically, you cannot put an ADU on your house to use as a bed and breakfast and rent it out for the weekend. You also can't have a 4-story ADU. They're gonna, the towns can restrict how tall it is, as well as put limits on what it can be used for as far as rental goes. And then it also amended adding this following paragraph, Section 8. No zoning ordinance or bylaw shall prohibit unreasonably, right there, unreasonably, restrict or require a special permit or other directionary zoning approval for use of land or structures for a single accessory dwelling unit or the rental thereof in a single family residential zoning district. So as I read that, that means single accessory dwelling unit in a single family residential zoning district, provided that use of land or structures for such accessory dwelling unit under this paragraph may be subject to reasonable regulations, including but not limited to blah, blah, blah. So they can put regulations on, requiring a site plan review, regulations concerning dimensional setbacks and the bulk of height of structures, and may be subject to restrictions and prohibitions on short-term rental as defined in Section 1 of Chapter 64G. The use of land or structures for an accessory dwelling unit under this paragraph shall not require owner occupancy. That's a big one right there. That's a big change right there. Shall not require owner occupancy of either accessory dwelling unit or the principal dwelling, provided that not more than one additional parking space shall be required for an accessory dwelling, and provided further that no additional parking space shall be required for an accessory dwelling located not more than 0.5 miles from a commuter rail, subway, ferry, or bus station. So there's no restriction. They can't say that you're required to have more than one additional parking space, and they can't require you to have any additional parking spaces if it's within a half a mile of the commuter rail. For more than one accessory dwelling or rental thereof in a single-family residential zoning district, there shall be a special permit required for the use of land, structures, or for an accessory dwelling unit. The Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities may issue guidelines or promulgate regulations to administer this paragraph. So basically, if you're looking to put more than one accessory dwelling in a single-family residential zoning, you'll need a special permit from the town based on the rules. So that's a big part of what is changing. All right. So let's go back to this real quick. Maintain the big two things are the size. 900 square feet or small, whichever is smaller. All right. So what can communities do? This is taking effect on February 2nd, 2025. They're allowed to require a site plan review. There's Title V requirements. This is going to be a big one right here. Title V requirements. We'll get into that in a minute. Regulations concerning dimensional setbacks, bulk, height of structure, and then the short-term rental. And they can impose reasonable restrictions. So those restrictions have to still be reasonable. Municipalities cannot require owner occupancy. They cannot require a special permit other than discretionary zoning approval for the use or rental. They cannot require more than one parking space located outside of half a mile. And they cannot require any parking for one that's located within a half mile. So you might be saying to yourself, why did they pass this law? So what is the benefits to everybody? So let's go back to our piece here. Share my screen again real quick. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So what are the benefits? Property owners provide an additional rental income for property owners, which can help offset maintenance and repair. That's a no-brainer, right? Here's why it was brought about, really. Low-cost housing opportunity for adult children and other relatives to remain in their community. That was a big talking point for this whole change. And then providing long-term options for seniors, either as an opportunity for caregivers to live close by or to downsize while remaining in their community. So that was another thing that I discussed, where I said, people were looking for a way to allow their parents to stay out of a nursing home, but not being able to live on their own in their own home. The kids wanted to be able to build these accessible, these accessory dwelling units on their properties, not necessarily, they call them the granny flats in some states. Um, it's basically like a small little home in their backyards because they had a lot of property. That's one thing. Massachusetts is a little bit tough because not everybody's got 5, 6 acres of property. We've got more postage stamp size properties. That's why the attached garages and stuff like that would become in-laws and stuff like that. But anyway, getting off on a tangent there. That is where a lot of people were looking to keep their aging parents who were perfectly fine with their wits. They just couldn't take care of their own homes anymore, so they wanted to have these in-law apartments to have their elderly parents move into. Um, benefits for the people renting. It adds affordable rental units to the housing stock to meet the needs of people who don't need a 3, 4 bedroom apartment. It's a great option for somebody who is a young businessman or businesswoman who just wants to live on their own, but doesn't need a huge apartment. Long-term residents can stay in the neighborhoods they love and know and work in. And then, of course, the most benefits are to Massachusetts. So it increases the much needed affordable and diverse housing opportunities. Provides accessible housing for seniors and persons with medical needs or disabilities and their caregivers. Compact growth makes use of our existing land use structures and infrastructure, which can be more sustainable and far more economical than building a single family home on a new lot. And they also say that because ADUs are smaller, they utilize less water and electricity, making them a more sustainable housing option. So, yeah, one of the concerns for the ADUs with property owners was my property is going to go down in value because so and so is going to stick a trailer in their backyard and it's going to look like a redneck neighborhood. Blah blah blah. Um, that was a lot of the feedback that I used to hear back years ago. So let's talk about Title V for a second. So these accessory dwelling units need to have their own bathrooms. They need a bathroom and shower, and they need to have a septic system. So in order for them to be put on your property, you need to have the space in your septic system to put them, unless you happen to be lucky enough to be on town sewer. Um, but a lot of Massachusetts is on septic. So I know, for instance, my home, the biggest septic system I could have on my property, just because of the size of my property, was a 3 bedroom septic. So if I wanted to put in an in-law, that would become an issue because I don't have space for another bedroom in my septic plans. So I'm sure there's probably ways to navigate, but it's not an easy road. The law is great because it helps to allow these things, but there's still issues with Title V is an issue. I know a lot of the lenders are just kind of saying, "Hey, we don't have a plan for financing this kind of stuff." So, drinking my pink drink. Um, so to have, you know, they need to come up with a way to finance these things. Um, and just so you know, if you send me an email, the CEO of Jack Conway is going to be sitting down with people involved in this bill that passed, and really going in depth to the ADU stuff on October 2nd. So if you shoot me an email, I can email you the link to that. I believe it's on Zoom. But I just thought I'd get on here, and I wanted to practice going live. So I just saw my ticker went up to 2. I think I'm 1 because I think I'm watching on my own YouTube channel in my browser. Um, but um, just drop a comment real quick and say hi. Let me know you're here, where you're from, who it is. So let me see. What else can I talk about? Building these ADUs is going to take time. It's like basically like building an addition to your house. It's not going to be something that just pops up overnight. You are going to have to file permits with the town. You're going to have to navigate zoning. I was just talking about financing, like financing options. The lenders right now, they don't know what they're going to do. There's no real financing. There hasn't been any real talk about it because it just happened. And I believe it takes place. It goes into effect February of 2025. But you're going to have to, you're going to want to find a good contractor that has good, whether, they work with good subcontractors, plumbers, electricians, that kind of thing. You can, I don't recommend it, but you can contract it yourself, and you can be the general contractor, and you can hire out all the different positions, the framers, the mudders, the drywall mudders, and the plumbing and electric. You can sub that all out yourself. But a good way to find those is through your local realtor. We usually have a lot of contacts for that. And I've got no viewers, so I guess it wasn't me watching. It was somebody else watching. That's pretty good. And then there's the timeline, which your contractor can kind of lay it out for you. And you just don't want to underestimate your costs. Share my screen again here. I'll show you what the current bylaws of Middleborough, where I live, so you can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about here. So the Middleborough Mass Accessory Dwelling Unit rules. These are the old rules. They don't see right here. It says currently not in compliance with Massachusetts home. ADUs require a special permit through the Zoning Board of Appeals. No, they don't. Not anymore. But they, it can be part of an existing new single-family home attached to a single-family home. Cannot have greater than 2 bedrooms. May have a separate entrance located either rear side of the building, either in the rear or side of the building. That's no longer true either. It must have a separate entrance from the outside or from a shared hallway, like a breezeway. They must be 50%, less than 50% of the floor area of the existing family home. That's still the same. Only 1 ADU permitted per lot. That's a Middleborough rule. Other towns might be different. They may allow you to. Like I said, here in Massachusetts, not really a common thing, just because we don't, most houses are built on 1-2 acres or less. There's another bylaw that's changed. At least one owner of the property must occupy a single family home or the ADU. Only immediate family members can occupy it. That's no longer true. And it tells you what the immediate families are. Any stairways to the second and third floors must be enclosed. These are all additional requirements outside of the state. An attached ADU may be allowed as long as the floor area is less than 50%. I don't know why it has to say that twice. 4 total parking spaces are required for a home with an ADU. 2 for the family and 2 for the ADU. That is no longer true. They can only require an additional 1 parking space if it's more than half a mile from public transportation. Less than, they don't need any. Health officer will make sure water and sanitary requirements are met. Yep. That's where that Title V comes in right here. They're going to come out and say, yeah, you can't support this ADU because your septic is as big as it can be and you're already maxed out. The thing with the Title V too is, the bedrooms are determined by the flow. So 330-gallon flow is a 3-bedroom septic. However, each bedroom counts for 2 people. So basically a 3-bedroom septic says you can have 6 people living in that house and your flow will be fine. So that's where the things are going to get tricky, because if you only have 3 people, if it's you and your wife and you want to have your son and wife and child move in, you're still under the 6. So even if they have their own bathroom in the ADU, so it's kind of a funny thing. That's why the Title V, there's probably going to be ways around figuring that stuff out. But anyway, the Zoning Board of Appeals may allow in some circumstances deviations from certain requirements. And then the names of immediate families must be listed on the special permit. So, but those special permits are no longer needed with this law. So here's kind of a couple of different, I just thought I'd show off some of these floor plans, kind of an example. This one here is too big. This is for an 1186 square foot place, but you can't have that big of a spot anyway, because we can only go up to. There's a tiny one. It's 446 square feet. But there's different, there's more, most of them are boxy. There's a 1-bedroom with it's got your bath, a washer, dryer, laundry. Oh, what the hell is that? A linen closet probably. And then your kitchen and living room is pretty much one big room with a galley style kitchen. Some of them are a narrow type, but not a ton of them are this, that's a real small one too, 497. Anyway, I just thought I'd show that kind of a little bit so you could see a little bit about what an ADU could look like. Sometimes they look like little houses, little mini houses in the backyard. And sometimes, like most of the time here in Massachusetts, they are built over the garage. It's just a common thing here, because that was kind of how you had to do it, So let's see. The recap here. So the main thing with the ADU law that just passed. Less than 900 square feet. Basically, it's 50% of the square footage of the main home. So that being said, it can only be up to 900 square feet. So if you've got a 2,000 square foot home, you cannot have a 1,000 foot. You might be able to get a variance, but without special permits, the town cannot tell you no if it's 900 or less. Basically, um, they can't use size to refuse you. We'll say that. It must have the outdoor, entrance, and put it in the comments if you're actually looking into doing an ADU at your property. I'd love to know. That'd be cool. I would definitely check out your town's bylaws. Go to the building department and ask them for the bylaws for ADUs, and they'll give them to you. Obviously, you can go to mass.gov to find the information on accessory dwelling units. Sorry, I'm looking at my computer screen too. I'd love to open the floor to comments, but there's nobody watching. So please, if you do watch this in replay, comment replay, and then ask your questions. I realize that going live at 5:30 at night on a Friday, people are coming home from work and they're not like dying to jump on a live broadcast. I really wanted to test out StreamYard to see how I like the platform, to use it to broadcast to my YouTube channel. It seems pretty cool. I do like it. I am planning on, I think it's going to be Tuesday mornings, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'd like to go live every Tuesday with like a 8 or 9 a.m. kind of coffee talk and let you ask questions. Or I'll just talk about a random topic until somebody asks me a question, kind of something like that. Or I can have people email in any questions that they're concerned about, that they want to hear about. Give me topics like that. I want this channel to be helpful to the people in my community, whether you're moving here from another community or you already live here. I want to be your real estate expert, so to speak. So I know that ADUs was a hot topic for quite a few years. So I wanted to touch on the new laws, maybe help clarify that. Like I said, I'm going to email me if you want to get the link for the CEO of Jack Conway's conversations with the people heading up this whole thing. I hope you enjoyed this live. I'm very impressed with myself that I was able to go for 35 minutes, almost 36 minutes now. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit the alert button so you're alerted when I go live or a new video gets uploaded. I'd love for you to share this video and, hopefully you learned something. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to be doing an open house at 4 Palmer Road in Plimpton tomorrow, 12 to 2 on September 28th, 2024. 12 to 2, 4 Palmer Road in Plimpton. It's a beautiful 4-bedroom colonial with an in-ground pool in the back. Definitely check it out if you're in that search criteria where you're looking for a place with 4 bedrooms. There are lots of upgrades they did. So it's a very nice house. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. That's the ADU changes in Massachusetts in a nutshell. Ooh, in a nutshell. Um, Remember, I'm not a real estate attorney. This is not legal advice. This is just me trying to interpret the law as I read it. I showed you the law right from the mass.gov website, and I just basically kind of read it off to you so you could kind of understand and try and help you understand what that means. Have an awesome night. Subscribe, share, hit the alert button. Have an amazing day.